The next talk is by Andreas. He's the head of client onboarding. Sorry, head of, actually it says head of onboarding. Why are you head of onboarding? Yeah.
Hello.
Actually, he's working a lot on the second big branch that we have in point 9, which is regulatory reporting. So regulatory reporting is about having the legal entities report to the regulators what kinds of trades they do, what kinds of funds they work with, what kinds of transactions they do. And we've been operating in this space for a couple of years now, and we have been providing this service to provide reporting for millions and millions of trades per day. And please give Antreas a big hand. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Evgeny, for a nice talk. Today I'm going to speak about the subject using Clover and Python process millions of trades per day. I'm very happy to work in point 9 because we are processing big amount of data. Okay, what my colleague Evgeny said before, it's about the middle office. As you can see, the schema, it shows the 4 different subjects we combine into our company. Here are all the points that Evgeny spoke about it in schema. I'm going to speak very specifically to regulatory reporting. Okay, reg reporting, it's an abbreviation of regulatory reporting. It's a new trend in the technical industry with a combination of financial industry. Basically, the reg started in 2008. The regulators in G20, after the financial crisis, they wanted to view the market and also to have to monitor the market basically and to be a transparency in the financial market. So here it is it's basically our solution in reg reporting. Basically, we are getting the data in the various legacy systems, central database, CRMs, and so on. Then, after we get the data, we do some enrichment in some cases, it depends, validations, data mapping, and then we do report and generate the reports. So we have also here audit trails and exception management. Then we submit to the trade repository, as they called TR, and approve reporting mechanism, our reports. After we submit the reports, we do get and fetch the data from each of these reporting mechanisms. So as point 9, we are processing 6 million unique transactions a day. As you can see, and my colleague Evgeny mentioned that it might be different actions between these unique transactions. So it might become more than 20 million records per day, and it is big in more than 200 fields per records. So far, from 2015, we, point 9, start doing regulatory reporting. We reported 4 billion records, unique records, and as point 9, we have the 10% market share in the whole European market. As point 9, we are dealing basically with a very huge organization, and our competitors, it is huge banks. So I think it's very big what point 9 team did so far in both projects. So the hardest part in our company is that we combine the regulatory, compliance, finance, and from the guidance, we have to translate it to a technology, which is quite complex thing that because we need to transfer the knowledge of the finance and compliance and regulatory and to move it to a technology. Okay, now I'm going to speak of our rec system, which is the rec v2. Our system basically, as you understand, it gets the data, transform it, enrich, and then report. During these years, we found out that there is a system ready in the market, which is built in already lots of functionality that we can use and to basically delegate some jobs to the system which is already known and maybe much better by constructing it yourself. So we found out to use the CloverETL. It was the old system. It's an ETL tool, extract, load, transform. Now it's changed the name to CloverDX. Basically, it is a graphical Java-based system which you can transform data very easy. You display the data as it goes in live, so you can easily develop much faster your solution. And also, it will be much easier to be managed by basically not hardcore programmers because we have to move very fast. The reason that we choose the specific ETL tool is because we wanted to be an integration with Python because we have a very good team in Python developers. So, and in case we had any complexity to use a Python component, so we solve the problem, which it really works. And it is extremely flexible, the solution we have done. In the next slide, I'm going to show our rec architect, how it is in general. Here we are parsing to this area is a client upload interface. There are various interfaces. SFTP database, customers might send us an email with their data and we parse from email parsers. So here we store a customer data. In the rec system, we are using a Postgres SQL database, where it is the main, here it is the main rec engine with multiple components, which these components might be in a CloverDX, or a Python component, which has been built by Point 9. And then we have a workflow for each customer. After the workflow runs, all the data are stored in a different regulation. I'm showing here EMIR report, EMIR and MIFIR. And then we submit it, and then parse the responses from each reporting mechanism. So this is the overview of a system. As a summary, our system is a component base, which is reusable components. It's a flexible system, and as Point 9 are different, we adjust basically we adjust our system to a customer format. So that means that we do in all the day integrations according to a customer's format. We don't require any format. In this slide, I'm going to show how CloverDX it is connected with Python. So basically, Point 9 embedded a Python script to the CloverDX. And as Point 9, our approach is to solve a problem that it is hard to solve and not trying to solve something that exists. So that's why we do give this to Clover for us. Here it is a very basic Clover components. this one and this one. And this one, it is a Python that is a subgraph. Basically, while you run this in Clover, you can see, click to this line here, it's called edge, and you can see the data as it goes in real time. The reason that we are using a Python and a Clover, as I mentioned before, is because we want to move fast, and because the regulation is going very, very fast. It's already from 2014. Since now, they introduce in financial industry 3 regulations so far. Basically, it is the EMIR reporting, MIFIR reporting, and now we start working to the SFTR. So you can imagine how fast you have to go as a company and also the industry. So this component here basically is a subgraph. It is our CL API, a Python component that we did on this way, where we have on this part the input, then we write to a database. We have the CL API in the middle, and as you can see, I will show with a cursor the phases that it runs the system. So it runs from the phase 0 here to the phase 1, then it goes to the phase 2, and then in the phase 3, it's export the result. This component here, when we have a Python, the Python solution, we don't change it. Basically, what we change, because we're templating the integrations and we do components, we have different inputs, and then we export in different outputs where we have the warnings and errors, if any, of course. Here we have, I show you here these yellow boxes. It might be looks funny because it's just boxes, but basically you can do a development using this because you can go inside. As you can see, this arrow, it shows this component here. Each of the other components, it has different CloverDX components. And this one, I'm going to speak a bit more how it is, some basically CloverDX components. Here, if you want to parse any file, you can get the file. You can reformat any file using a programming language which is called CTL2 in Clover. It's their language which is very similar to JavaScript. You can normalize any data you want. You can, let's say, generate queries and run the queries in the flow. You can join data. And then we have notifications, notification where we can store any exception on our workflow. And then we do have partition that it might go to the multiple different type of the components. After we generate the report, after we generate, we run the workflow, we send emails to clients where we show them for any exceptions might be, which I show here 2 examples. So that's all from me. Thank you for your time. So,
thank you, Andreas. And any questions? Yes? Let me just give you the mic.
Good evening. Thanks for your talk. The question about CloverDX, it's mostly a composite question like when have you decided to choose it, whether you had any alternatives on the market, and what was the selling point for you to start using CloverDX over if there were any alternatives you may look into?
The main reason, as I mentioned during my presentation, it was because we started using it. Okay, first of all, the company was started in 2002. So we started using when we had the question about the regulation, that we have to move fast. And we decided to do this because we can delegate some already built-in components from CloverDX, because, for example, as I showed to this one, as you can see, for example, this is a file parser. You can parse any kind of a file to this. So it is ready, okay, so we don't need to maintain this, but we do focusing it to the core and the complex part of the regulation and generally to the finance. So as a company, we would like to solve hard problems and not the already built-in things and already know.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Maybe I can add some more to this. The reason why we chose Clover is because it comes with
I forgot to mention. Yeah, please.
Clover gives us a very complete set of components that you can plug together very easily, graphically also, to basically implement workflows. And regulation is all about workflows and enriching data, slicing and dicing data. And it was basically the perfect tool for us to use. Even though it's written in Java, it's actually a very good tool. And whenever we need to do something more complex, which is not implemented in Clover, or which is very hard to do in all these little graphs here, then we drop down to Python, and this is why we implemented this Python interface, right? So again, for us, it's always very important to be efficient when doing things. And so we always choose the technology that's most efficient for whatever we want to do.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay, same.
More questions?
Yes, we have one more questions. Which limits or bottlenecks you have during exploitation? Limits and bottlenecks of CloverDX platform.
You mean with Clover?
Yes. How you analyze performance and how you find bottlenecks in our complex diagram?
Okay. Basically, CloverETL, it has a good engine which can, in case there is any limitation. Okay, first of all, we do have tests, and then we commit something. Because they have quite clever technology, because they have buffering, so it manages the memory and everything itself. So it is process the data according, and basically it's process the data and it's allocate the memory accordingly. So in case you reach the limit, you will get a notification about that. And we have, in depends on the area of the workflow and how many records we process at that time, we might apply a logic to send in batches the data. Also, Clover, it has another feature that you can use to manage the allocation of the performance, that you can use multiple servers and to allocate automatically the resource.
So just to add to this, what we use in Clover very much is the logging feature. So it logs all the details, all the statistics about when one of these graphs runs, and so you can look at how long something takes. If something takes too long, then of course we have a look at it. It also gives us an error report, so whenever something fails, for some reason we can go in and then check it directly or rerun a workflow from the console that they have. Do you have more questions? Has any one of you worked with CloverDX or CloverETL as it was called before? No one. Has anyone worked with any other ETL tool? Yes? Which ones were those? No? Okay. Has anyone worked with Bonobo, which is it's basically just in development now? It's a Python workflow engine. Yes? Exactly.
Can you give to this?
So Bonobo is just starting. It's a very, very, let's say, junior in this respect. Clover is much more advanced in this, and so this is why we chose Clover for this. So we're going to have a 15-minute break now. We have some beers there for you to socialize, and we also have some food here, some snacks. If you have any questions, please approach us. Please come to us. Everyone who has one of these nice badges here is from Point 9. So please do come to us and ask questions. Thank you.